thank you all for taking the time out this afternoon to participate. I hope there's one group absent, I think. There's one group that I met that are probably due to come back. So I hope everyone found it a thoughtful exercise in that it got you thinking and looking at these streets in maybe a different way than you may have before, or if you're new to the streets, that you've maybe as well learned something of the place like I would have. So what we might do, this is very informal discussion based, I'd rather not be talking. I'd like to hear, I suppose, how people found the exercise. And maybe if I just pass this microphone around to each of the groups, if one person or all of you would like to say something, if you talk to us about, I suppose, what in your group you did together. So you would have had 3 tasks in each group, yeah? So are you with this group here? No. Oh, you're all together, sorry. Okay. So I'll start. Are you guys ready or do you want more time? Would you like to start? You need a bit more time. Is there any group, are you guys ready to start? I'll let you start. Okay, so what color did you have? Blue. Okay, so you were blue, and your first activity was looking at activity, which was variety of cultural venues and events. And then what was your third or your second? The form, you were looking at the legibility. Yeah, so that's a good one to see how legible you found it. And then your photo study was, area identity and imagery. Yes, so they're nice ones. Okay, would you like to speak on that? Could you just tell us if you're local or visiting?
Yeah, I'm visiting. Not a local, from Norway. And yeah, the first stop we made was to the train station in Carlow, built in 1846, so really old, brings a lot of cultural value, I assume. Kind of a key element in Carlow. So, yeah. Do you want to cover history?
Where did we stop? At the Garden Bio?
Yeah.
Garden Bio. We went to the Garden Bio, which is a culture centre in Carlow, where they have a biodiversity garden and workshops there for the community. And from there then we looked at the Mercy Convent, who have been there since 18 something. And then they looked at the houses, the type of houses that people lived in before and present. The shops are all, there's no shops, there are signs of shops being there, but they're all closed. And St. Dipnus, which was the asylum, but is now a hospital just for, not lie-in hospital, clinical, mostly clinics there now. And then we came down the Dublin Road and to, as I said, the Mercy Convent, and then the type of housing again. I showed them my own house, just the original building, and I think they couldn't believe that a family were brought up in these small houses with just 2 rooms up and 2 down. But now they've all been, everyone has put on extensions on the back of them. And then we looked at the other community centre, the O'Brien Centre, which is a place where the elderly go for meals and they have church services and that there. And then we came down and we looked at where the college had bought the site of, which used to be Thompson's many years ago, back in the 40s, Thompson's work. And it's now going to be demolished and a plaza will be built and student accommodation for the college.
Okay, and if I ask you, I suppose, about those streets that you looked at, thinking of them as part of a cultural quarter, do you think you would get that sense? I mean, as a local person, do you have that sense, and I guess as a visitor,
sense of history there, isn't there?
Yeah, it's all older than it looks like. I wouldn't like assume it was like 100 to 100 years old, like so, and yeah.
So you'd link history to culture, would you? I mean, that's
Yeah.
that's very important in your analysis. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Okay. We'll come back. We'll just keep moving to get a good spread. Thank you. Okay. We have. I'm like a roving mic person here. We have another group here. Would you feel comfortable to speak? Somebody from the red group? Anybody? You're putting on your mask, saying no?
I don't think I need a mic, to be honest.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, we started here in College Street, went up and then turned right onto Carlow Street and went down, is it Charlotte Street? Down Charlotte Street. And the street across here, Brandon Street, and then went down onto Dublin. And I suppose basically, what we were looking at, one was adaptability. And I think there's a lot of shops on Tuttle Street closed, and obviously there's potential for residential above most of those shops, and I doubt at all that there's any residential. And to be honest, because most of them a lot of them were shut down, there's actually not a lot of commercial. Dublin Street feels much nicer. I know it's a broader street, so I think collectively one of the first things we commented on was how unsafe you feel walking around Carlow because of the traffic, the lack of parking, the narrowness of the streets, that sort of thing. So I think from an adaptability perspective, I think there's huge potential on all the streets that we're on. We're talking behind the Workmen's Club. Again, I suppose an observation, there are too many car parks in Carlow Town Centre, and that car park would be a lovely public centre. And actually just coming back in over to your left over there, there's a really large empty industrial unit as well.
So it's more, at the moment, you wouldn't say the status of adoption is there. You couldn't say there's much evidence, but there's potential.
Of having the no,
but there's more potential. Yeah.
We have to have Conor with us. We were aware of certain large areas that have recently been sold to private developers as far as Conor knows. Who knows what will happen there, but unfortunately if it had been kept within the public sector, it may have been better because there might be more control over how it's developed, and it may be less, it has potential to be less commercial.
Yeah.
We can see that with Kenny where they developed the Abbey Quarter as well, and then commercial activity in there over and above. Now it's very, very well balanced between kind of outdoor community space, cultural space, and a lot more into the residential.
And what was your mapping exercise?
Here's the photos behind.
Oh, this was the photos. Yes.
This is Margaret.
The sense of history.
Yeah, huge sense of history because of the house, and they're quite small, but they all have those lovely, beautiful doorways.
Yeah.
Deep down in Dublin Street, there's a lovely building that as far as kind of years has always been a religious order, so really beautiful buildings. Compared to the building on as well. The Capuchin. Look, when I saw the colour, I assumed it was Capuchin actually. So,
And what was your map exercise?
map exercise, it was adaptability.
Oh, sorry. And the list one.
I have a list, but it's on a sticky note. It's gone.
The land use.
The land use, that's right. Okay.
Majority
Yeah,
commercial.
talked about that.
Majority commercial.
Well,
Presuming there's apartments in some of the areas, the majority on all the streets that we looked at was commercial.
Okay, yeah, okay.
So just to add to that, in fairness to the guys, because I have all of the mapping for the area anyway,
Yes,
we were
you've
kind of
answered
discussing
that.
it there rather than trying to identify stuff.
Yeah, no,
We
that's
were able to
good.
look at them quite quickly, so that's why we picked up
Thanks, Ken.
top of the mind as well.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. Thanks to our other group who've joined. So we're just basically discussing, people are, I suppose, relaying their experience and what their findings were. So we'll just, are you guys ready?
Thanks. So we started off on Charlotte Street. So we just, we definitely felt that it was like real old and closed in. It needs to be brightened up and made more kind of accessible. But we were also shocked at, like, it's the smallest street, one of the smallest streets, and it's got so much on it. Like, it's really packed, like, you know, historically, and it's got, like, economy there that's actually, you know, open and running. So that was one of the things we were really kind of surprised, and I was, because, like, I'm from here and I didn't really pay attention to it before, so that was really interesting. Then we went to College Street then, no, Brown Street, and we just observed, again, not as close because it's facing a different direction, so and today it's got more light, but still quite a narrow street, and there's really not much going on there. You can just see the back side of the Red Setter B&B, but other than that, there's not really up on the Tulla Street side of it. That would be lovely. Like, it's mostly residential there. There's very little business.
You were looking at active frontages, isn't it?
Yeah.
You would say it's quite inactive then.
Very inactive there. You just go, it's really flat, even though, you know, it's nice, peaceful, sunny, because today was sunny. But on a dull day, it's very drab there, and it's really inactive. You know, it's not a space that you would be enjoying walking up, really. And then we did lots of photos of just all the frontages, really, and focusing on, you know, the...
So, design appreciation and style. Yeah, what would you comment about style? Does it have style, this area?
Some of it does, and some of it doesn't. Yeah, it does. Like,
streets, sorry. What streets
I would
do you
say,
think?
well, Charlotte Street has its own style. Like, it's a very old style.
Okay.
But it's definitely not flamboyant or anything. But it's like more like a historical style or something. You know, it's something you have to go and look at to see. It doesn't just catch your eye as you're walking by unless you stop and look at it. Brown Street, no style. I didn't notice any anyway.
Utilitarian. Vernacular architecture. Okay. Yeah.
And then...
And College Street, which is just here, yeah.
Oh, God, like College Street has just so much, and it's definitely more modern and highlighting the cultural aspects. You know, there's definitely more effort put into it, especially from when you can see, like, when you show the picture of the old walls at the front of the college. Here, I was like, wow, I remember those. And I don't know when they changed, but it looks so much better now. But it's really lovely to see it as well.
Yeah.
But it definitely opened it up and made it more active, you know, that you can see into the college now. Whereas I remember before you couldn't. It was really like keep out kind of a thing. It was just a narrow gate that you could drive in.
The barriers.
So.
And were you then listing, you have a long list there, is it, of the small firm economy?
Yeah, we just made a list of all of those. So like College Street is just packed. There's a few that we listed that are not open anymore, but we just listed them anyway. There's just an X beside them just to show that they were there, but they're no longer.
Yeah.
Some due to COVID and others. I think the Med Bar was a tax issue, but we'll say nothing about that. Just loads of different things. Like there's restaurants there in College Street, there's solicitors, there's the Carlow Sports and Social Club, which is quite sad looking. But it always has been a bit, but it seems to be more...
needs more style, is it?
Definitely needs more style. But, so that was
they're great findings.
Did,
Would you want to say anything and you're happy with that? Okay, maybe the next two groups,
Yeah, so do you want to go next, guys? Do you
want to speak first or I speak?
You go.
Okay, no pressure.
We've only about 10 minutes left.
Okay.
So
we did, myself and Con here, we did College Street. It's a street I live on for the last 12 years, so I know it fairly well. Going through like the meeting and gathering spaces. So we had the busiest area, would have always said the college itself, college entrance on College Street. Not just by Carlow College students, by the various different schools around secondary schools, primary schools. It will be a busy area in terms of footfall from Monday to Friday. Then the weekends, then it would be more so, we say, because of the masses in the cathedral, that would be Saturday night, Sunday morning, Sunday evening. Corner conversation, well, we have a number of them. We have La Boheme at the corner of Brown Street. At the bottom there with the Irishmans, we have the Court Place, it's kind of a plaza there nearly. A place to rest, again, since the walls have come down here. And the railings, there's plenty of opportunity there to sit down. You always see people up and down there sitting down, no bothers, you know.
Yeah, because that's
skateboarding
often,
as well. Sorry.
Yeah, that's often an area that's highlighted in lots of towns, that there isn't places to sit, and benches aren't often in place because they may attract antisocial behaviour. You know, so there's sometimes. So your impression would be that there is quite a lot of places to rest and sit.
Certainly there is.
Okay.
Now, again, you mentioned benches there. There is no benches at
No
all
benches,
on College Street,
okay.
up and down. So that's the importance now of the walls having come down, must be 20 years ago now at this stage. Shelter from the rain. The only shelter from the rain I can really think of is the gate lodge at the entrance, and maybe under the roof there of the parish centre. Obviously this place closes at 9 or 10 o'clock at night, so that's the gate lodge is unavailable. The parish centre, the gates, there's generally the pedestrian gate is open, is accessible, so you can go in and shelter from there. But again, up and down, that's it. There's nothing else that I can identify up and down the street. A space that can hold a group of people. Well, we're blessed on College Street. We have here the college. We have the parish centre. I know you can hold an event in La Boheme. You can hold an event in the Med when it reopens in June, and the same with Mimosa. Gardens and parks. Well, again, in Carlow College ticks those boxes. It's always been a very accessible college as long as I'm here and as I'm in my 40s, and we're coming here doing everything from community games to just going through it, you know, and the cricket club at the back, of course, too.
You found it then quite easy, I'm gathering, in terms of to answer these.
Well,
you found lots of evidence.
Bullet points, yeah.
Yes,
yeah,
very good.
Definitely.
I might just move, just in the interest of time. Sorry, thank you very much. Okay, our last group. Who would like to speak? This lady. You've been nominated, I believe. Well, you can. Yeah, off you go there.
Thanks. So, some of what the last speaker said we observed as well, so just the lack of seating, but there are some open areas to stand around. A lot of derelict buildings, derelict houses rather than businesses, and the evening economy or nighttime economy that currently exists are some of, again, as the last speaker said, the Irishman's pub at that end of, help me, street, that end of, which street is it? Brown Street, yeah. And then the Working Man's Club, and there's a large area outside that, but it's taken over by cars, so it's certainly not attractive to gather in any kind of way. And depending on the activity in the Working Man's Club, we noticed as well we chatted about the fact that there was residential area, like housing, occupied houses there. So what would they make of people starting to gather right outside their doors in the evening, and what kind of gathering would that be? If it was just coming and going from activities, or if it was alcohol involved and stuff, and that mightn't be as attractive. Yes, some of the streets were very narrow, and
you
one
were
of them,
looking at permeability, wasn't it?
That permeability. Daytime, certainly, there was a lot of service vans unloading and causing congestion problems. Maybe that would, and bollards. One lamppost in particular, you wouldn't fit a buggy or a wheelchair between the post and the house and the wall. Yeah. So that's a safety issue there with the road.
We noticed down by the girls' secondary school. We went further down there where the nun's house, the original nun's house, was, and there was a space down there called Guardian Bio, was it? Yeah. And we were told, or we read a plaque on the wall, that it was donated by the nuns to the community as a community space for use, but it was totally underused by the community. Now it is a bit far away. And then we had a discussion about, how in Europe, Italians and Spanish go out in the evening and meet in public spaces, but that's to do with their climate and their culture, where we in Ireland tend to go indoors.
Well, we have a Norwegian here who lives in a very harsh climate. I think you'll find in harsh climates they do use their public spaces as well. I don't know
Yeah.
if weather should be
Yeah, I mean,
a deterrent.
you know, generally what we thought was there was some beautiful buildings in the town. Really, there was the Cigar Emporium. There was, you know, where the Capuchins are. I think somebody mentioned there. Just incredibly beautiful buildings,
Yes.
totally uncared for,
Yeah.
neglected,
Yeah.
dirty. Even the outsides, and I'm looking through the windows, and we couldn't understand that because many towns would give their IT to have some of those.
Well, that's that category: design, appreciation, and style. Is there an appreciation of that, of the gems, you know, architectural gems that are there? In terms of the permeability, what age group do you think that those streets? Just when you mentioned about people with buggies and things, who do you think it's tailoring to in terms of age groups? Would you think old people, or like that people with young families would feel comfortable moving around in those streets?
I mean, we have a practical example because we were in the city last night at 10 o'clock, walking down the main street, and I think we were maybe 2 of maybe 10 people we saw in an hour.
There's no people.
And then we went into a restaurant and they said, oh, nobody comes in on a Wednesday. It's a Wednesday night. Nothing comes in. So I don't know. I thought because there's a college here, the place would be full of young people and there'd be a buzz, but I'm not sure there was. No.
Yeah. No, that's great. Well, I mean, we're only scratching the surface in this conversation as to what the findings are, because we'll obviously collect all your hard copy notes, and this is live and will presumably be live for how much longer? I mean, it may be live indefinitely because it lives in another world, but feel free to keep contributing to this, you know, as if you get a notion or an idea or a photograph, because this is a collective resource that could be shared, and certainly, I suppose, is a snapshot of a quick study of a few streets in Carlow today. So I hope people found it enjoyable and useful, and maybe of talking point. I'm certainly interested myself to kind of read and look in more detail at the findings. I just want to thank you all sincerely for your commitment to this today, for being so enthusiastic and open to it. So I really hope you enjoyed it, and I love to talk to you again informally as the day goes on. So maybe we'll all just clap for each other. Thank you. Well done. Thank you all. Thank you. And a huge thanks to the tech team here, Marcin and Vasilis and Rory, who did an amazing job.